Before you ask whether you can afford the house, maybe the better question is, can you afford the life that comes with the house?
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward together with the Dekker team.
Welcome to Life's Inside Track, episode 760. I'm Yetta Dekker.
And I'm Ken Dekker.
Thanks for connecting with us each week as we have honest conversations to help everyday Canadians make wise real estate decisions that strengthen the life they're building so that they have even more clarity, confidence, and conviction.
Yeah. The conviction part, right?
Yeah.
Am I convicted to spend every dime I can afford? When
we get an approval or pre-approval, because we've been there,
mm-hmm.
we haven't had to do that for a while, but there was a time where we had to go get approval. And when we got it, we almost thought that, I didn't say it out loud. I don't think you ever said it out loud, but it was the feeling that we had that because we got the approval for that much, we ought to spend that much.
Absolutely. It's a license to spend money.
Right. Which I don't think we understood back then. It turned out okay. And it would have turned out much better if we had realized and thought about that the whole life that comes with the house is more important than just the approval.
Yes, I've been in some homes, especially where they built a big home. And this comes to financial as well, like they're at the max. So they build a very big home and then they put very cheap finishings in it. Very little furniture, if any, cheap appliances, cheap cabinetry and that kind of thing, because they were trying to get the biggest house possible, but really blew their budget.
And so we're asking, and I'm sure you're not one that did that. And I mean, we did it on one of our houses. So maybe you're like us and you've tried a few things and realized that maybe it was what you could do. It wasn't the wisest thing to do. And I think that's what we want to really navigate discussing today is how do we decide what amount of margin we still want? Do we want to have it so that if one of us chooses not to go to work, we can still make our payments? Do we want to be able to be super generous, whether it's tithing or giving or how we want to give our money away? Mm-hmm. Is it about investing? Is it about the kids' education? Like where else? Because although the bank does a stress test, and I love that the stress test has a level of security in it, it doesn't, though, take into consideration how I live.
Right. What it does is it's at a moment in time. So when they do your credit check and look at your income and your other loans, other expenses, they then calculate what your mortgage payment can be, but they don't do it on the current interest rate that you're getting. They do it on an interest rate that might be 1.5%, 2% higher. And they call it a stress test to protect you so that if interest rates move, which sometimes they do, in the future, you're not in a position where you may need to lose your home or have to sell it to buy something smaller because the interest rate went up. Now, really, that's designed to protect the bank.
Like, I think you want to hear that again. That stress test, although it does give you a level of protection, really is designed to protect the bank or the lender or whoever you're getting your mortgage from.
Yeah.
It's really not designed to help you. So sometimes I'll have clients say, yeah, but the stress test already gave me margin. And it's like, not
well, and
really.
The problem with the stress test is it's, like I said, it's at that moment in time. Whereas, you may move in and 6 months later decide, oh, I want to buy a new car. And you'll qualify for the car or truck, and that payment's going to be $800, $900, $1,000, whatever it is. Now suddenly your stress test room
is more than
gone, and it's gone to the vehicle, and your house had nothing to do with it.
And yet it feels like, because I hear this a lot, I'm house poor.
Yeah, and then I look and they got 2 car payments. They're paying on their Visa, like they don't pay it off every month. And they're not house poor, they're vehicle poor.
Right. And I think we don't want to make this a financial show because this is not really intended to be a heavy duty financial show. And yet, what keeps floating in the back of my mind that's not in my prep or wasn't part of this conversation is lines of credits.
Mm-hmm.
You said high interest rate on visas and car loans. They can sometimes look like they're next to no interest on those, but lines of credits most of the time are secured against a house,
Mm-hmm.
which makes them an alternate mortgage product. It doesn't have an end date. It can go on forever. You're not really paying down the principal. You're just paying the interest on it. So it works differently.
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody tells me, hey, I don't have a mortgage, and it sounds really good. And they say, well, are there any outstanding Visa cards or any lines of credits? Is there anything? And it's like, oh, well, I have a line of credit for $400,000.
Right.
Well,
And it's used.
and it's, yeah, we have no space left on it. It's being used, and we'd taken our mortgage and converted it, or we had no mortgage and we got some debt and we used our line of credit to pay off all our debt. So it's now rolled into one easy payment, which sounds good. That stuff does want to be taken into consideration.
I think what Yetta's saying is don't be
blindsided,
or don't be that the line of credit is part of your mortgage if it's registered to your house. So some people say, well, I have a mortgage for $300,000. I have a line of credit for $200,000. Well, no, you have a mortgage for $500,000. Really.
Just in different financial vehicles. So we don't want to get belaboring this point. I think it's just one of those information type things that there's a mass confusion about.
Mm-hmm.
And it breaks my heart. Like it's one of those dialogues that hurts me because people don't understand necessarily what they're doing.
Yes. And, we talked about not going to the max that you're qualified for, but there are times where you should go to the max you're qualified for. Or that it might be
the wisest decision.
Yeah, because, you're at the start of your career, you have promotions coming, you know that there's a projection of where you're heading.
The trajectory is great.
Yeah. And, you may have plans. You just got married. You might have plans to have 2 children. And we don't really want you to go out and buy a 1-bedroom condo or a 2-bedroom condo if that's not going to suit your needs for the next 5 years. If it's not going to last 5 years, then maybe we need to stretch as much as we can to get you into something that could last 10 years or 15 years, because the cost of moving is significant. And so there are times where you want to go to your limit. And maybe it's because, hey, it takes my limit just to get into the market because of where I'm at. And there are other times where you go, you know what, maybe I'll go below my limit, like the couple that we helped sell their 2 houses. We talked about it a while back, and they bought a beautiful new home. And this home is large and it's 4 bedrooms. And I'm looking at them, you got plans for kids? And they kind of twinkle in the eye. Well, maybe, yes. So planning ahead is important. And for them, they didn't go to their max, but they still had to really sit down with us and talk it out for like an hour and a half around, it's more than I'm used to paying. Is it okay? Am I comfortable at it? Is that a normal amount? What
impact does it have on the rest of my life? Mm-hmm. Will that feel like something that's doable and manageable for me? And what we know from CMHC, I love having some statistical evidence for my analytical-minded people, which Ken is one. So we love to bring a little bit of that in. And CMHC said in 2026, 52% of buyers went to their max. In 2025, 58% went to their max. So we're not saying it's good, bad, and you shouldn't necessarily do what everybody else is doing. So by no means is it permission to go to your max just because over 50% of the population is. I think you really want to look at your individual scenarios.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I don't know if the stat was there, but to look at, COVID, where prices were accelerating rapidly. Many people were going to their max just to get a house
Right.
And because houses were selling 50, 100,000 over asking, and they had to get one.
Or wait.
Or wait.
Or stay where they were.
That's one thing I love about the market we're in now is it's very balanced. There's lots of inventory to choose from. Prices are stable. They may go up 1 or 2%. They may go down 1 or 2% depending on what kind of property you buy. But it's quite stable and level, which makes it a nice period where you can wait a little bit to find the right house.
Yeah, I think an even better question isn't, can we afford this house? The even better question is, can we afford the life that comes with the house? Which includes things like maintenance and commute and all the factors associated with living anywhere.
Mm-hmm. And I say that sometimes because people will want to move outside of the area to get a bigger house or get the land and everything and that they can afford and if they're maxing out their affordability, like they're maxing out their mortgage amount, and I'm going, yes, and you're moving 30 minutes further away from work. So have you calculated gas and insurance and maintenance on your vehicle and replacement of your vehicle? Like all those things add up. Mm-hmm. So if your desire is to get out of the city, you've got to make some calculations for that because we want you to still be able to live.
Well, you want to still be able to live. I think more importantly than what we want for you, it's what do you want for you? And what you want for you is a really comfortable, maybe not comfortable, but a life that suits where you are and where you're going. Mm-hmm. The life that you're building. And if you're thinking, we've had lots of these thoughts rolling around in our mind. We've been talking about it at night when we're in bed, or at least I've been thinking about it. I haven't said it out loud yet because I don't know how my partner's going to feel about the whole thing. If you're thinking maybe it's time to shift a home, or maybe it's time to renovate, maybe it's time to do something at home, and you would value an outside trusted perspective that would help you make a really wise real estate decision, because ultimately it's a life decision, then you can go to our dekkerteam.com website and just book a 15-minute complimentary next step clarity call. It's not a conversation that's meant to answer everything in your life. It's not a quick fix. It's a next level discovery, right? What are my options? And just get clear about 1 or 2 things, and it will be of value, I would think.
Absolutely. I love doing them. And so, because sometimes people ask me, well, why do you do that for free? Like, doesn't that eat up some of your week, some of your working time? I go, yes. And it's so valuable for the person I'm speaking to that it's a wonderful use of my time and theirs.
Which is great. So ultimately, we are saying we're here for you if it feels good. Mm-hmm. And a wise decision is what?
A wise decision is the best decision.
Right, but it's one that actually just doesn't take into consideration what the bank will give you or what your neighbors are doing or what everybody 52 or 58% of the population are doing, which is maxing out. A wise decision is really taking all those considerations that you know are true for you, because we've mentioned a handful of them, and there are dozens more. We could do a whole show.
We could.
About just what are the variables that someone ought to consider, because it's different for everyone. I can't give an answer for you. You can give an answer for you.
And that's why life feels lighter when we navigate it together. Thanks for joining us on Life's Inside Track, because when we move forward together, we've got this.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward.